Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. US President Joe Biden has said he is hopeful that America can mark independence from COVID-19 on July the 4th if people get vaccinated.
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
In his first primetime TV address as president, Mr. Biden said he would order states to make all adults eligible for vaccinations by May the 1st. Currently, measures prioritize people by age or health condition. Mr. Biden was speaking exactly a year to the day after the outbreak was classified a global pandemic. 500,000 Americans have since died, more than the death toll from World War I, World War II and the Vietnam War combined. Thailand has delayed the rollout of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine over reports of blood clots, despite there being no evidence of a link to the jab. The country's Prime Minister was due to kick off the country's vaccination drive by getting the vaccine on Friday, but this has now been cancelled. The delay comes after a number of countries, including Denmark and Norway, suspended the use of the jab. Around 5 million Europeans have already received the AstraZeneca vaccine. Myanmar activists have held more rallies against the military junta as South Korea says it will suspend defence exchanges and reconsider development aid to the nation. A group of frontline demonstrators with protective gear and homemade shields in Yangon observed a minute of silence to remember those who have been killed. The rallies came a day after a rights group said security forces killed 12 protesters, taking the death toll to more than 70 since the coup started. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said Turkey has resumed diplomatic contact with Egypt and wants further cooperation after years of tensions. Two Egyptian intelligence sources said Turkey had proposed a meeting to discuss cooperation, but suggested the contacts were still only preliminary. President Erdogan said the contacts were not at the highest level, but right below the highest level. He expressed the hope contact with Egypt should be strengthened. Relations with Cairo have been difficult since Egypt's army ousted Mohamed Mursi, Egypt's first democratically elected president, and an ally of Erdogan after protests in 2013. Nagpur in western India is to be the first major city in the country to return to complete lockdown amid a sharp spike in coronavirus cases. It comes as hundreds of thousands of Hindu devotees plunged into India's Ganges River despite the ongoing pandemic. The week-long lockdown, which starts on the 15th of March, will extend to adjoining areas of the district as well. India has recorded more than 11 million cases and 157,000 deaths so far. A mass funeral ceremony has taken place for the victims of a series of explosions in Equatorial Guinea's largest city, which killed at least 105 people and injured more than 600 others. The victims' coffins were carried in a procession into a soccer stadium in Bata, where the explosions happened on Sunday. The Prime Minister and Vice President watched the procession. The government blames the incident on fires set by farmers living near the military base and the negligent handling of dynamite stocks. King Goodwill Zwelithini of the Zulu nation in South Africa has died in hospital where he was being treated for diabetes-related issues. The 72-year-old king was the leader of South Africa's largest ethnic group and an influential traditional ruler. He had been admitted to hospital last week to monitor his ongoing diabetes. The King's Prime Minister thanked South Africa for its continued prayers and support in this most difficult time. And finally, giant hands have appeared at 2 locations in Benin, part of a global project by the French artist Sepe. On a beach that was once one of Africa's main slave trade hubs, a giant hand appears to be slipping into the ocean while another is pulling it back. This is one of 2 frescoes from French land artist Sepe to appear in Benin. Armed with a spray gun and biodegradable paint, his Beyond Walls project is trying to create a chain of human hands across the globe. In total, over the past 2 years, Sepe has visited 3 continents and painted 37 pairs of hands with the aim of spreading a message of friendship and peace. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.